Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Race Spec Esports F1 2021. Tonight we have the PS Pacific Sprint Cup. Round 2 of Season 5. We are in the United States at the Circuit of the Americas. Looking forward to some good racing tonight. We've got a full grid, which is great to see. For those not familiar with the Sprint Cup format, we have drivers racing in their multiplayer car liveries, which will be a very different sight to see. All the different cars out on the track. Alright. Okay, cars are getting out onto the track pretty quickly here. So we're riding on with Kuda at the moment. On his outlap, let's move through the grid and see who's out towards the front here. Okay, so we're riding on board with Ned Hugged My Dog. So Ned will be the first car to set a lap time. Hopefully Ned's getting his tyres warmed up nice, getting them in the window. Look, there he is. Warming up the tyres, getting ready to start his flying lap. Let's see how he goes. So coming into turn 1, it's a very tight turn 1. When there's other cars around you during the race, it can be quite tricky. The S section, quite a tricky section of the track as well. Very easy to invalidate a lap through there, or even lose control of the car if you hit the curbs in the wrong way. Coming down the hill to the hairpin onto the back straight. This is a great opportunity during the race to do an overtake. It's a very long DRS before you get down to the next tight bend, which is also another tricky one. This section in particular of the track's my least favourite section. Is where I tend to have most of my spins when I'm racing. Ned seemed to handle that one pretty well. Coming through the final couple of turns. So Ned set a time of 1:31.854, so that's the time to beat. Oh, which Highles has already done with a 1:31.812. Let's see who else is about to come through. Oops, let's go back the other way. Alright, riding on board with Leo is a Weirdo. Coming across. Leo's gone fastest with a 1:33.14, over a second faster than Oz Formula. So I think everyone else needs to work a little bit harder there. That's quite a gap. Alright, riding on board with Scotty793 now as Scotty comes across the line. Manages to put it in P2. Bit over 7 tenths off of Leo is a Weirdo. So there's definitely still some margin for improvement from other drivers. Let's have a look who we got coming through here. Alright, James Cruz, a very brightly coloured livery car. You definitely won't miss that one on track. James managed to set a 1:37.2. That's obviously a banker lap. We'll need to do much better than that, I think, to get further up the grid. We got Shazzy's God, also a very brightly coloured livery. Shazzy's God 1:33.1, so a good nearly 3 seconds. Oh, we've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Somebody had a spin. Who was that having a spin? Scotty 793. Alright. Okay, Latimer is coming through. Oh no, going into the pits. Alright. Cuda back out on the track. James Cruz is retired from the session. Reedy's retired from the session. Looks like Shaz's God has also retired from the session. So didn't see what happened there. Trying to work out if anybody's on a flying lap here. Okay, Latimer's back out on the track. Hasn't set a time yet, so let's stay on board with this car. It's a very nice looking car actually. The purple and the white actually looks quite nice together. Reminds me a little bit of the just from a colouring perspective, I think the Stewart racing livery back from the 1990s. Alright, so Latimer is coming through the final couple of corners, getting ready to start the flyer lap. The car got out of the way there, that was very kind. Let's see what Latimer can do. So coming up the hill into turn 1. Heavy braking zone as you come into that corner. Get the power down carefully as you come out. Negotiate your way through the S's. Said tough section of the track. If you get it right, there is a lot of time to be gained there. It looks like somebody got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision there. I think it was Oz Formula had a collision with Jamie JW21, so I'm not sure what happened there. So coming down the back straight now. Heavy braking into the hairpin bend. Through the tight, windy section of Sector 2. Coming around the final few corners. Let's see what sort of time ex-Latimer can put on the board with this lap. It's looked pretty solid. Not too many errors. A 132.2. Probably a bit of extra work needed there from ex-Latimer to climb the grid. Top 10 start. Yeah, probably about 8 tenths needs to find to 8 or 9 tenths find to get a decent top 10 start. All right, let's have a look. Who else is out there at the moment? The Banana Cake Pie. Alright, coming through the S's. Down the hill into the tight hairpin bend. It's not a very long straight, that straight, but you can potentially get an overtake done going into that corner if you're careful. So we've got less than 6 minutes to go in qualifying. Honest Crook still hasn't set a time. We've had 3 session retirements. Leo Zawirdo's gone faster again with a 130.0, so he's knocked a good 3 tenths off of his time. Yep, Banana Cake Pie's fitting. Alright, who else we got out here? Yeah, Jamie JW21. Let's see how Jamie does. He's on his outlap at the moment. He's about to start the final corner. Heading down the straight. Heavy braking into turn 1 again. Get down on the power easy as you come through the exit of the corner, otherwise you'll end up spinning off into the wall. Negotiate the S's. As I mentioned earlier, that's what can happen through the S's. If you catch one of those curbs wrong, absolutely spin you out. So that'll be a little bit frustrating for Jamie. Tyres are a little bit warm now, so he'll need to cool those down, and depending on whether he's got enough fuel on board, will determine whether or not he can have another crack at it on this run, or whether he needs to pit, refuel and go again. Alright, who else have we got out on track? Alright, Ned's out again, so Ned needs to find nearly 4.5 tenths to be able to take pole. I reckon this would probably be Ned's last crack at it. We've only got 3.5 minutes left on the clock. So Plevs is now up to second. Bit over 2.5 tenths behind Leo is a weirdo. Scotty 793's in 4th. He needs to find almost 8 tenths. And then Cooter in 5th's got to find nearly 1.3 seconds. So we've got a fair old gap between first and well, the last driver with a set time, which is Banana Cake Pie. So what's that? Nearly 3.1 seconds between Banana Cake Pie and Leo Azevedo on pole. So it's a big gap between the field there. Not sure what Ned's doing. Just waiting for all the cars to go past. Hopefully his tyres didn't cool down too much while doing that. He's trying to build a bit of a gap, I think, to the cars ahead of him. And now he's going to fire up, go through the last few corners to start his final flying lap. So down the main straight, heading towards the hill up to turn 1. Get down to the power easy. Get your lines right through the S's. Taking the right amount of curb, not too much curb. Don't want to lose the back end of the car like we saw earlier. Down the hill into the hairpin, going onto the back straight. Another heavy braking spot. Get on the power, start getting on power pretty early there. Lots of time to be made if you can get your power down right coming out of that corner. Into another tight braking corner. He's currently 4.5 tenths up on his previous time. So at this point, not quite enough to put him on pole. We need to pick up a bit more through the final few corners. Let's see how he does. And he puts it on pole. 129.867. Alright, let's right on with Leo. Leo's got to respond now. He's got to find a bit under 2 tenths to put it back on pole. So let's see how Leo goes. Coming through the final few corners. Oh. No, actually I don't think Leo's going to set a better time. I think... Alright, let's see what Plevs is doing. So Plevs will need to find about... What's that? Oh no. Oh, Plevs has lost it. Ah, oh, unfortunate. He's hit the wall and retired from the session. Ah, that'll be a bit of disappointment. He could have possibly have put it on pole. Depending on what happens with anyone else who's still out there. Let's have a look who's still out there. Kickbutt Kiwi. Yeah, probably not going to take pole based on existing lap times. No, he's pitting anyway. Alright, so is anybody still out there? No, so everybody's come across the line. So it looks like Ned Hugmadod has managed to take pole. So it looks like Leo as a weirdo couldn't improve. And Plebs unfortunately had that spin that put him in the wall and caused the retirement of his car. So as I said, it's pretty wide gap there across the field from times, ignoring probably the three who retired. I guess Honest Crook, the only one who didn't retire, quite a bit off the pace. And obviously Oz Formula's got a 5-place grid penalty. Alright, I guess we'll move on to the race. Should be a good one. We'll see what happens at the start. See if Ned can hold on to hold on to the lead from pole position. He may be under pressure immediately from Leo and potentially from Plebs, who will be sitting behind him. So with the Sprint Cup, the format, if you're not familiar with it, so it's short qualifying, which we've done, and then we have a 25% race, so grid set from qualifying, and then we have a second race at 25% with a reverse grid scenario, which will spice things up a little bit. For anyone who's familiar with Formula 2, it's a very similar concept to what they run in Formula 2. You know, they have a short qualifying session. Everybody just goes out and qualifies over a you know, well, in here I think it's an 18-minute period. In the F2 they do about a 30-minute session, and then they have their three races now in Formula 2. So they have their first race, which is top 10 reversed, and then the second race is grid set by finishing positions with reversed top 10 grid again, I think, and then the feature race where they have the grid set from the qualifying. So it's very similar, probably more similar to how F2 was set up in previous years. They just had the two races. So the first race was reverse grid, and then the feature race was grid set from qualifying. So this is kind of turning that concept on its head a little bit. So we have our first one set by grid, and then the second one's a reverse grid. And that should spice things up a little bit, because obviously that puts the potentially the faster drivers who have managed to, you know, put it on pole and then potentially go on to win the first race, you know, having to start from further down the grid. So it looks like we've got everyone in the top 10 starting on softs, except for Banana Cake Pie, but I suspect that's possibly due to Oz Formula's grid penalty. I think Banana Cake Pie finished outside the top 10, so is starting on the mediums. We've got a few in the bottom half of the grid that have got the mediums on, and the rest are on softs. Alright, so we get started. The grid's forming up now for the start of the race. Oops. Okay, lights are getting ready to go. Okay, 5 lights, and we're racing in the Sprint Cup. So Leo's managed to get into first already. Plevs has pushed up to second. Ned's dropped down to third. What's happening in the rest of the grid? Oh, we've already had somebody go off. Didn't catch who that was. So right through the back of the grid here. Oh, there's a little bit of wheel banging there in the hairpin. I did say you can pull off an overtake there if you're careful. All right, what's happening back at the front? Looks like Leo's holding firm in first place. Plev's tucked up behind. You know, staying within DRS at this point. Ned's tucked in behind Plevs. There's a little bit of a gap starting to form back to Jamie JW21. So Jamie might want to make sure that he keeps it, keeps the car straight first things first. Coming out of that final corner, that looked a little bit untidy. He's now dropped out of DRS. Plevs has managed to... oh, that's a bit weird. No, he hasn't. We got that glitch going on. So showing that Plevs was in front, but he actually wasn't. Leo's still holding firm in front. Got to love the glitchiness in the games. So predict a pit stop strategy. Soft starters, you know, go to mediums. Pit in about lap 6. Going to the hard seems to be a little bit later. Oh, we've had a DNF. What happened there? Ex-Latimir seems to have binned it. Missed what happened there, so I'm not sure whether anybody else was involved. Try and check and see if anybody's got any damage. No, it doesn't seem to be any damage to anyone else, so it's quite possible that Ex-Latimir binned it all on their own. So Ned's gone for a very early pit stop. Oh, there's a virtual safety car out. Virtual safety car. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Oz Formula's at the back, whether Oz Formula's had a bit of a spin. It doesn't seem to have taken any damage. Oh, but Banana Cake Pie is now DNF'd. Missed what happened there. Maybe as James Cruz goes past, we might be able to catch sight of... Oh, yep. Banana Cake Pie's put it into the wall, unfortunately. That'll be a little bit frustrating. Still got a bit of a timing bug here. I'm pretty sure that's not right, so let's see what I can do to see if we can... It definitely doesn't want to fix itself up there, does it? So they're pretty close to each other. couldn't get quite close enough to do an overtake there going into turn 1. So let's see. So Plev's got plenty of ERS there to be able to deploy. He's right on the coattails of Leo there. Is Plevs. He's got an opportunity potentially here. Use up a bit of his ERS to try and get the overtake done. They're giving each other plenty of space, and Plevs pulls into the lead quite easily there going into the braking zone. So let's see what Leo's got in the bank to fight it. So Leo's definitely got plenty of ERS, so he potentially could have fought that a little bit harder, but he's probably playing the long game, thinking he can potentially catch Plevs further into the race, maybe when it matters a little bit more. And alright, we've got something going on in sector. F1 boy must have had a bit of a spin there. F1 Ferrari pros gained himself a penalty, so 3-second penalty. That's going to be quite frustrating as they get close towards the end, because that can definitely impact. Gran P's got 13 seconds worth of penalties, and I suspect, I'm not sure what's happened there to get 13 seconds of penalties and not serve anything in the pits. Can't possibly be 13 seconds worth of track exceeding penalties. That seems quite unlikely for 5 laps of racing. Alright, let's go back to the front of the... Again. Oh, Leo had a look, but decided to back out of it there. Oops. Leo's got plenty of ERS. He's just hanging on to the ERS. Probably knowing that potentially that Plevs has expended a bit of his trying to keep with him. Got another flag in sector 3. Looks like Kuda's had a bit of an off going into the pits. Couldn't see any damage, but it didn't. But I guess it's probably about time for a tyre change anyway. So looks like the timing's fixed itself up finally, which is good. Alright, let's go back to the front again. So Jamie's managed to get back into the competition here. There's definitely a big gap between the top 3 and everyone else. It's a nice looking livery that Jamie's running there. Oh, Leo's made the overtake, so he's taken back the lead. Still got quite a bit of ERS in the tank. Plevs not so much, but they will get a bit of a top up when they do pit for their medium tyres. Okay, checking back through the pack here, we've got a bit of a battle here between F1 Ferrari Pro and Hiles. Both sporting very similar coloured liveries. Very looks very much 1980s, early 90s McLaren Marlboro inspired looking liveries that they're running. Okay, Ned's pitted for his mediums, so that's why Ned's all the way down here. He's currently chasing down Jamie, who has just pitted by the looks of things. So this could be quite a tasty battle as they come through the S's down to the little straight, down to the hairpin before they come onto the back straight. I reckon Ned will probably get the overtake done down the back straight here, because Jamie doesn't have DRS support, so Ned can just power on by with potentially with DRS. Neither of them have got a great amount of ERS to use, so it looks like Ned's possibly going to bide his time and wait for another opportunity to present itself. Reedy's picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, so that won't help. Yeah, we've got no, wrong one. Where are we? Oh, Ran P just looks like Ran P's binned it. Oh no, maybe there was a coming together between Ran P and James Cruz. Oops, F1 Ferrari Pros picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Well, that's certainly not going to help their finishing position. It looks like James is going to have to limp the car back to the pits and get a wing change. We'll be able to go on to maybe a fresh set of softs for the remaining laps. We'll have to see how that is. They may not be fresh, so we'll have to see what happens there. Alright, so Plevs and Leo have pitted, and Jamie's managed to jump them. So Jamie's pulled an early pit stop and is oh, we've got safety car, full safety car. Honest Crooks DNF'd. Let's see what's going on there. What's happened to Honest Crook? You see the car? No, that's the safety car. Alright. So, Jamie had done well. Had pitted early. Got the undercut on Leo and Plevs. And on Ned. So, smart move. I guess Kickbutt Kiwi and Scotty 793 will be coming in for their pits under the safety car. They may actually not do too bad out of this, because the pack's still backing up, so they may actually do alright. They may actually not lose too many positions and potentially be in the fight. So Ned's pitting again. That's interesting. Interesting choice. I guess going back on the soft tyres, and Plevs has also pitted again. So they've obviously decided to go back in and chuck on the soft tyres. I guess for the last 5 laps, you know, anyone who's on the mediums still are going to be potentially going to be a bit slower. And, you know, I guess because we'll be behind the safety car for a little bit, the pack's going to back up and bunch up together, which means they're going to be on the faster tyres when they restart. So that might actually be a good gamble that they've gone for there. %100% ERS for Plevs, so he's fully recharged, ready to go and attack the race from here. So still got a few cars coming around that are backing up. So it looks like a lot of people have repitted for softs. Some who probably started on the mediums Mace. Oh no, it looks like they've all pitted, all done 0 laps. That seems like it's probably not 100% right, because Jamie's done 1 lap on his mediums. Oh no, that could be right. That could be right. Jamie will probably, because he did go in early, so Jamie will probably come through, set 2 laps, and then Leo and Scotty and Kickbutt Kiwi will all rack up 1 lap. Yep. Well, no, actually, that's right. Scotty and Kickbutt Kiwi pitted on the safety car, so they've actually got. They'll have 2 lap fresher tyres compared to Jamie as we go into the final few laps here. Oh, Reedy's got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Kuda. This is where you need to be careful under safety car conditions. You know, manage your gap to the car ahead of you, so that you don't hit the back end. The game is a bit buggy like that. Oh no, Ned's done it as well. Oh dear. Well, that's really going to impact on Ned's ability to come back and win this race on those fresh softs. But yeah, you need to make sure you're maintaining your gap under safety car conditions, because the game will penalise you heavily for that 5-second penalty. Now, luckily for these guys, I guess they've already pitted. As long as they don't have to pit again, they'll be able to submit a request to have those penalties removed. But if you do get that penalty, you know, early in the race prior to pit stops, unfortunately those penalties can't be removed. Because they get served in the in the pit stop. Safety car is in this lap, so we'll ride on board with Jamie as we get ready to restart. Jamie's backing up the pack, getting ready to get restarted under the green flags when they come out, which will happen as soon as the safety car enters the pits. And we'll get ready to start racing again very shortly. And looks like Jamie's put his foot down. Oh no, he's lost the back end of the car there. He's really opened the door for Leo there. Very close battling as they go through turn 1, and now very, very close through the S's. Tricky spot to be close to another car in front of you on the F1 game. While the physics aren't necessarily the greatest, that dirty air still does play a part in the game. So it can actually be quite dangerous going very close with another car through the S's here at the Circuit of the Americas. Got a flag in Sector 2. Looks like Kuda's binned it going through the S's. It's very easy to do. Maybe Shaz's God might have been involved in that, given how far they're off the back of the pack. So we've only got 15 runners left in this race out of a grid of 20. All right, how things going back out here at the front? It's all pretty tight. Highles is very close behind Banana Josh F1. Might get the overtake done going into turn 1. Yep. Outbreaks Banana Josh. going into turn one. It's on the obviously the fresher soft tyres, so it's definitely going to have a pace advantage. It looks like Plebs is Plebs and what's happened to Banana Josh? Looks like Banana Josh is ghosted, so not sure what's happened there, whether they've had an off and they've come back onto the track. So Ferrari, F1 Ferrari Pro, wheel banging there with Sugar Freaks. It's very close racing there. Going to go for the out-braking manoeuvre. No, backs out of it. Play it safe. Got 2 laps to go. It's good to see that the timing's working beautifully. We've got another Banana Josh by the looks of it. Had a moment. And that's Banana Josh out of the race. Had a spin. His tyres were obviously too hot. Tried to get down the power a bit too early going through the windy section there, and unfortunately spun it off and put it in the wall. So 14 runners left in this race. Leo's just got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So Scotty 793 is currently sitting in second place. But Highles, Ned Hug My Dog, Oz Formula and Plebs, and even Sugar, well maybe not Sugar Freaks, probably a bit too far off the pace. But Ned's just taken Highles for 5th place. It's pretty tight racing here in the... as we go down the straight, there's lots of cars very close to each other. Let's see what happens here as Highles has taken the position back from Ned. And Oz Formula had gone up the inside. Now on the outside going into the inside. There's a bit of a touch there, I think. Very tight fighting here in the pack. So Ned's still holding on to the position from Oz Formula. Plebs is in the conversation as well as we go into the final turn. It's a bit of a DRS train that we're seeing. So the advantage Plebs has over the others is he doesn't have any penalties. If we have a look at the penalties there, so he'll probably be able to get that one removed. Oz Formula and Highles, there's for track extension, so they won't be able to be removed. So Plebs can still jump ahead quite easily just through penalties, can jump up to 5th quite easily. Still very tight in this battle here. It's quite an interesting battle we've got going on. But they are being relatively respectful of each other, giving each other space. A couple of them ran wide there. So Highles has dropped down now. It looks like Plebs is going to take Highles. Oz Formula and Ned Hug the Dog have overtaken Kickbutt Kiwi. So Kickbutt now on much older mediums. Can't take it. Looks like Leo's won the race. Scotty 793 behind. Looks like Kickbutt Kiwi, Plebs, Jamie J21, Oz Formula, followed by Highles, then Ned Hug My Dog. Sugar Freaks, Ferrari F1 Pro, Shaz is God, Reedy, James Cruz, and then F1 Boy 443. Doesn't look like That's been a great race there, especially towards the end. Lost the front wing entirely, so be interesting to know what happened there. Oz Formula gets driver of the day. That was quite a good race there, particularly towards the end. That battle in the pack there for 5 or so cars, just changing positions right at the end. It was quite a thrilling end to the race, actually, to watch that. Like I said, it was all very nice and respectful racing, and they all came out of it. Nobody took any damage. So the final standings with penalties in place. So Plebs has jumped up to 4th, Kickbutt Kiwi into 3rd, Jamie JW21 in 5th, Oz Formula in 6th, Hyles in 7th, Ned Hug My Dog in 8th. Ned's got that 5-second penalty that they'll probably be able to appeal, which might put them up into 4th, possibly, if I can do math. Not quite 4th, it'll probably put them into 5th. So at least Ned will hopefully be able to get that penalty removed and move up the grid. So now we get to go to the next race, which will see the reverse grid kick in. So we just wait for the grid to be sorted out for the next race. So I'm not sure what the standings are for the Sprint Cup League at the moment. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you some of that detail. Let's see. It looks like we don't have that data at the moment. So it looks like we've lost 3 drivers from the grid for the second race. Not sure what's happened there. Hopefully they'll jump back in. So while we wait for the grid to be sorted out for the next race, let's see what I can tell you potentially from the previous round. If I can find any information on the previous round. Race results, here we go. Let's see if I can find out. So, no, it doesn't look like we got any race results from last round that I can share with you to give some idea of, I guess, where people sit in regards to the standings. Hopefully next week we'll be able to bring some more information to let you know where things are standing, so you get an idea of who's doing well overall. But we are only the second round into this. So we're about to get started now for the second race. So as I mentioned before, there's no qualifying for this one. This one's reverse grid. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers tackle this one. So it'll be a challenge, I guess, for the faster drivers, potentially starting at the back, trying to get past the slower drivers in front of them. So it should make for some interesting racing at any rate. It's quite an exciting track to race on, the Circuit of the Americas. It's very quick. There is obviously the slow section towards the back end of the long straight, the back straight. Gets a little bit slow through there, but most of the rest of the track is pretty quick. Your heavy braking zones from the short straight onto the long back straight obviously slows things down a little bit through there, but pretty much from turn one right through to the hairpin on the back straight, it's pretty full throttle for most of that. So, you know, as a racer, you know, it's quite exciting. There's a lot of jeopardy involved in that first sector of the track. If you get it wrong, as we saw in the previous race, if you get that wrong, you can very well bin it into the wall very, very quickly, because you are moving at quite a high speed through that section. So any mistake is severely punished. I know that because I've experienced it myself. It's a very much a love-hate relationship with the Circuit of the Americas for me. I'm sure I'm not alone. It's just waiting for everybody to get themselves sorted. See what's happening in the chat here to see if get any indication of what's going on. It doesn't look like nobody's reporting anything weird happening, but it does seem to be taking quite a while to get into the race. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not the Formula One actually does make it to the Circuit of the Americas this year. With COVID being the way it is, we've seen so many races lost off of the F1 calendar this year, and I guess that's the advantage of a game like this. COVID doesn't really matter. We can race wherever we want to race, whenever we want to race there, which is great. Must be incredibly frustrating for F1 drivers over the last 2 years, not knowing necessarily what the calendar's going to be. Makes it very hard for teams to prepare. What they're intending to do for the season if the calendar changes constantly. As we've seen recently. So we're lucky here with the F1 game. We set the calendar pretty much stays the same. It doesn't generally change. Everybody knows when they're racing, where, so you can do your practice accordingly. So I don't know if we're suffering a technical issue here, or what's going on. But I'm definitely stuck on a loading screen here, so I'm not sure if I was hoping to bring you some action. but I'm not sure what's going on. So I don't know if there's actual racing going on at the moment, or what's happening. But I'm certainly not seeing any racing at the moment. See if I can work out what's going on here. But it looks like I may not be able to bring you the racing for the second race, which is a little bit disappointing. It's unfortunate, but this game does seem to still have quite a few bugs in it. Hopefully, over the next year, as they release patches, that some of these issues get resolved. Although I suspect I've seen this particular problem previously. Well, it looks like we might not be able to bring you the racing for the second race, which is a little bit frustrating. So as I mentioned, this is my first time commentating, so this is the first time I've had to do this, so I'm not sure quite how to recover from here. I might try and quit the game and see if I can rejoin using the original invitation. So I'll apologise now if this is kind of the end of the broadcast. There we go. Looks like I've received a new invitation. Oops. Why can't I join? Okay. Alright, I'll need to... Looks like I'll need to quit the game.